Aaron Rodgers has been in all sorts of hot water because it turns out that he, in fact, was not vaccinated for COVID-19. Now, the rule in the NFL was that you were supposed to get vaccinated for COVID-19. I'm not sure what sort of evidence he provided to the Green Bay Packers that he was vaccinated so that he was not suspended or prevented from actually going out on the field. But then he actually got COVID-19. Now, Aaron Rodgers is one of the healthiest people on planet Earth. Right? Aaron Rodgers is an NFL quarterback. He's in his 30s. This is not somebody who has to worry significantly about dying from COVID-19. But apparently, the rest of the world has to go nuts over this. This is very, very bad. Now, remember, everybody else, presumably in that locker room, unless they are lying, is vaccinated, which means they are safe from Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't matter. Everybody has decided to go nuts on Aaron Rodgers. How dare Aaron Rodgers not vax? How dare he not vax among the world's healthiest human beings, nearly all of whom are vaccinated, apparently. Now, back in August, Rodgers had said that he was immunized. It was unclear exactly what he meant by immunized. Had he already had COVID or something? So he was on a show called The Pat McAfee Show. And he said that he was in the crosshairs of the woke mob right now. There's certainly truth to this. The amount of ink and outrage that's being spilled over Aaron Rodgers is so much greater than the amount of outrage spilled over that Las Vegas Raiders player who recently murdered somebody. He recently allegedly killed somebody by hitting them with a car at 156 miles an hour while drunk. Like, that was out of the news in like 1 second. He was dropped by the team, but the team put out like kind of a tepid statement about it. Did it occasion any sort of national conversation about behavior of various football players and the levels of irresponsibility of the football players generally? No. But Aaron Rodgers, we get a week of coverage about how Aaron Rodgers is the apotheosis of evil.
I realize I'm in the crosshairs of the woke mob right now. So before my final nail gets put in my cancel culture casket, I think I'd like to set the record straight on so many of the blatant lies that are out there about myself right now. When Trump in 2020 was championing these vaccines that were coming so quick, what did the left say? And I'm talking about every member of the left. Don't trust the vaccine. Don't get the vaccine. You're going to die from the vaccine. And then what happened? Biden wins and everything flips. Shouldn't that initially give you a little bit of pause and go, hold on a second. Isn't this shit about health and not about like politics?
He is not totally wrong on that. Now, I'm a big fan of the vaccines. I think he's wrong about the vaccines and the health effects of the vaccines, but he is not wrong to have institutional mistrust of an entire media that suggested that the vaccines would not be developed in time and were super bad when Trump developed them. But as soon as Biden was elected, suddenly the vaccines became the cure-all. Apparently, according to NFL insider Ian Rappaport, he said that Rodgers has been following NFL COVID-19 guidelines for unvaccinated players, which require daily testing even on off days and the wearing of protective masks indoors. But Rappaport says the NFL is going to investigate if the protocols have been strictly implemented because Rodgers had been spotted not wearing a mask during some indoor press conferences with reporters at Lambeau. Well then. So it turns out that they have been doing daily testing. So it's not like he was positive and just hanging around people. It turns out they've been testing, like pretty much all the time. So was he putting other people at risk? And if the idea is that he had to wear a mask so as not to put other people at risk, vaccinated people pass this too. Rappaport said he has, in his words, been immunized, which is he sought a holistic or homeopathic treatment to try and raise his antibody levels and then went to the NFL and their joint doctors to get what is essentially an exemption. He tried to get them to say, okay, because of where your antibody levels are, you're allowed to say you're vaccinated. The NFL, NFLPA, and joint doctors did not allow that, so he was officially ruled to be unvaccinated. That's the reality. That's why Aaron Rodgers, despite sort of leading the public to believe he's vaccinated, his official status is he did not receive the COVID-19 vaccination. The NFL is reviewing the situation. Apparently, they can fine him. So if he was gathered outside of team facilities or team travel in groups of more than 3, that could result in a fine of about $15,000. Attending an indoor nightclub or indoor bar of more than 15 people, unless you are vaccinated, could carry a fine of like $15,000. And if you didn't submit to testing results, that's $50,000. So I have a question. Why is this like the world's biggest deal? Really, why is this the world's biggest deal? First of all, on virtually all other issues, we sort of assume that your health is your business. Now, we are dealing with the world's youngest and healthiest population here. We're dealing with a group of people who, again, probably are largely vaxxed at this point. So everyone in that locker room has had the opportunity to get vaxxed. Why are we calling this guy like an insane person? Why are we going after him like he's a crazy person? We'll get back to more on Aaron Rodgers in just 1 second. First, when we started Daily Wire, we wanted to make sure that we knew down to the very marrow of our company's bones, how everything works. We're focused in on our marketing. We're focused in on data analytics. Well, you should be able to do the same sort of thing. And this is what Giant Partners does. It's time to position your company as an industry leader, create buzz, attract new customers, generate consistent revenue. Giant Partners is here to help you do it. Giant Partners, they're America's #1 data-driven marketing agency. Giant Partners operates in the business-to-business space, offering a variety of business marketing solutions like database marketing, brand development, web design, SEO, lead generation, digital marketing services, as well as ad placement. That's just to name some of what they do. Whether you own a small family business or handle millions of dollars in revenue every year, Giant Partners can help you get to that next level. Their marketing strategies are research-driven. They're equipped with 20 years of data experience. Don't take my word for it. Their largest customers include BMW Nationwide, Ohio State University, 3M, and Ethan Allen. So head on over to giantpartners.com. Get your business set up today. Members of the media have it extremely backwards. What they are saying, they say things like, well, look at Colin Kaepernick. That guy was run out of football for his perspective. No, he was run out of football because he was a crappy quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers is an MVP. If Colin Kaepernick had been an MVP, he could have mouthed off as much as he wanted, and he would still be under center. He was not nearly as good as Aaron Rodgers is. End of story. The real question is why Aaron Rodgers occasions this sort of outrage, but Colin Kaepernick, wearing socks that had cops projected as pigs on them, instead earned him $1 million contracts for his point of view. That's the part that's kind of shocking. And meanwhile, Big Bird is pushing the vax at this point. Now, this is not rare. Sesame Street has done this before. If you go back to 1972, Big Bird was pushing the measles vax. The difference, of course, is that measles vaccines had been in wide use for a decade or more by the time this happened and were mandatory in most schools across the United States. Here was Big Bird circa 1972 pushing vaccination.
Well, there's all kinds of people, and they're all in a line, and they don't look like they're buying candy. And there's a sign that says, "Don't wait, vaccinate." Huh.
Okay, so that was back in 1972. Fast forward about 50 years, and Big Bird apparently has undergone some sort of testosterone therapy because his voice is super duper different. And now he's talking with Sanjay Gupta about why he should get the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, remember, there's a bit of a difference. The measles vaccines had been widely tried by the early 70s. They were mandatory at nearly every school. The COVID-19 vaccines are not mandatory for school kids anywhere except for maybe San Francisco, and the amount of data on them for small kids is still fairly minimal, which is why a lot of people are in wait-and-see mode. Also, the big question here is, if you are a publicly funded entity, shouldn't you be directing your instructions for a voluntary vaccine at the parents rather than the kids? I mean, the parents are the ones who are in charge of the health, are they not? Not the public officials. Anyway, here is a newly butched up Big Bird making the case for the COVID vaccine with Sanjay Gupta, who presumably was also going to talk to him about the evils of horse dewormer or something.
I have one more question.
Whoa.
Oh, sure,
Voice
Big
drop
Bird.
there.
What's that?
Well, I'm a little scared to get the shot because I don't like needles. Will it hurt?
Oh, it's okay to be scared and to have some of those big feelings, Big Bird. Can I tell you something? I'm a grown-up and I don't really like needles either. In fact, even as an adult, I don't like to look when the doctor puts that shot in my arm.
Big Bird's like, well, I've been working out, so it's fine. His voice dropped at least an octave. That's kind of amazing. Just like on an aesthetic level, wouldn't you get somebody who can imitate Big Bird's original voice? When I first heard this clip of Big Bird, I'll be honest with you, haven't had any correspondence with the Big Bird in quite a while. Last time I was probably 7 years old. I'm now 37 years old. The last time I remembered Big Bird, his voice was more like the 1972 Big Bird. And then they hired somebody who apparently had been smoking a pack of cigarettes every day. He's like, I'm here to take the COVID vaccine. Okay, Big Bird. We're in a battle for the culture and for our values. Like and subscribe to help keep our videos on the front line of the fight and top of your feed.